Okay, so we are going to continue with these little details down here. And off camera I had a little think about it and I think I'm going to do them as geometry. I think they are big enough for us to just do as geometry. Might take a bit longer, but I think it will look nicer. So, what I am going to do is, I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. 2 here, 1 in the center. Should be easy. Basically, first thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and press go to edit mode. Ctrl R, and we need to place 1 in the center over here. And the way that I place them is I simply move them here, and then I just right click, which will leave them in place. So that's the way that you can do Ctrl R here. For these two, same, you just place 2, and then right click to leave them in place. There we go. So we now got all those lines. Don't worry, we will optimize it all later on. I'm going to probably do all of them at the same time. So I'm probably going to go ahead and just select all of these lines. So Alt Shift, double click. There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and maybe have like an easy view so that you can see both a single and a double. And let's do Ctrl B. Let's see. These ones over here, they are too close together. Let's select these. Move those a bit further apart. Same over here. Select these, move these a bit further apart. There we go. Yeah, that should look a bit better than having everything crushed together. See? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we got those pieces. Now it's just a matter of finding out which thickness we want to go for. I'm going to go for something like this, which is 0.0425 if you want to be very precise. But of course, yeah, this is more about just eyeballing it, and you just kind of like choose what you want to do. Now the next step would be to just place a line on everywhere on the same height. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into object mode, Shift A, and just quickly create a cube. Just scale it. It's just going to be like a little reference plane, because these are all separate pieces, and I want to use my Ctrl R. I don't want to do some kind of weird cutting or slicing across the entire thing. So I'm going to go for height like this. And now we can just go in our model and we can simply press Ctrl R, and everywhere we can just place a Ctrl R line. Oh, something is going wrong here. Let's double click on this one. Let's get back to that one. Because I think what happened is when I was scaling it, I overshot it. So you just need to like push back those few edges. Probably same over here. Yeah, see? Yeah, that's it. So I overshot it. In that case, just quickly hide over here this plane. So here, as you can see, because I scaled this out, these faces have extended further than the previous face, so you just kind of need to like move this back. There you go, that should do the trick. It's worse on the other one. On this one it's a bit worse, so just want to go ahead and let's see, let's select these pieces, move them all the way back, and if we just go to vertex mode, so there is like a double vertex here. It's just a bit tricky to select the right one because they're so close on top of each other. So yeah, just try and select the right one. There you go. I was lucky that I was able to select it very quickly. There we go. And now if we just do an Alt U so that we get our plane back. By the way, this piece, oh no wait, we need to keep this piece, so let's just hide it. But now we can just quickly go ahead and Ctrl R and just finish placing these lines over here. There we go. So now we can get rid of this one. So the next step would be for us to make sure that these lines over here, this one, the bottom one, and then the back one, are all square. So over here they are square, over here they are square, but over here they are not. So in these instances, I think the easiest thing for us to do is to just select these 3 edges over here, the ones that we need, and then scale this flat. And then set the scaling here to 0. You know the trick. I've shown it before, so it's just selecting these, scaling them flat on the axis you want and then setting them to 0. And because we set them to 0, they automatically become the same thickness again, like we don't have any warping or something. And I find that this is a good way just to make 100% sure that your edges are nice and flat and that they fit. Like that. And might be a little bit more time consuming, but that's just in this case because there are quite a few edges. So I will now try and go ahead and do this at like a bit of a quicker pace, just to not waste your time. And in the next crate, what I'm going to show you is we are going to make use of symmetry, and not just like half a symmetry, but literally we are going to make it into a quarter piece and then symmetry the hell out of it to just create everything. But for this one, I felt like doing it as like full-on modeling. You could definitely use symmetry here. It's more like I don't know. It's like a thought process. It's a bit hard to explain. So it can even come down to just being in the mood to create this fully, because creating this immediately as like a full view, it will give you a better oversight, I think is the word. Or overview, sorry. Overview is the word. About how everything is going to look and feel. And also because this is of course the first slightly more difficult model in our tutorial, I just wanted to take my time on it and show you. There we go. Great. Okay, so these are basically gaps that go inwards, and then for the rest we have some smoothness on all the corners, but the smoothness we will work on later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and going to go to face select. Select all of these faces, and we can just do these all at the same time, so don't forget to select the back piece. And then what we are going to do is we are going to extrude these in. And when you extrude these in, it will create that little effect. So let's just... There we go. And then most of this smoothness will be in the high poly. It's just that the corners we will do in the low poly because those are too smooth for us. So let's go ahead, and now you cannot actually use extrude. So if you use Shift E, it doesn't work because it's not the way that we want to extrude. The one that we want to use is extruding on local normal. So if you press Q, we set this one. So extrude faces along normals. Of course, you can go in face and select it here. But doing this one, it will extrude it based upon every face direction, which will mean that we get an effect like this. So it will try to extrude it based upon the direction of every single face. Now these ones, because this is a tilted model, these will all most likely be tilted too. And if we look over here, I think what we are going to do, just to give like an interesting contrast, we are going to flatten them straight. And doing it this way, it will just, when you look at it, it will be a small detail, but it will just be interesting that it doesn't feel like it's a basic extrusion. It just feels like a little bit more if we make this flat. And I think in the factory that they would probably also just do something in this direction. So, over here we need to do some more flattening. So let's do this one. Let's flatten this one. But I can see over here that if we just select this, and I've shown you this before, so press Shift G and then do coplanar or go to select. It didn't select everything. Basically, let's then just do by hand these four. Here, see, they are not perfectly straight. So we want to just go ahead and select those. You often find me just trying to like find faster way to select things, and then I find out it's not faster anyway. So, but in those cases, it's just about showing you the techniques, because of course right now in the tutorial, it's everything goes a little bit slower. But when you are just modeling and you're just in the mood and everything, then of course you do all those functions. You do them within a second. The different types of selecting and just trying to figure out the best way to do it. Of course, here I cannot really do that because then I would go way too fast for you guys. So that's why in this specific case, you sometimes see me making small mistakes like that. Because this is also the first time that I'm making this model. I'm doing this live. So basically, we have these pieces now done. That looks cool. Okay, so these are the smoothness on these ones. We might want to just like a little bevel. I think it could benefit from just a bevel, just to make it extra smooth. But what I first want to do is I first want to go ahead and start smoothing these corners. Now we have these in two versions. We have this corner that is smooth and this corner that is smooth. Now as you can see over here, we cannot double click all the way around because of the way that this corner is made. But I actually think that that is good because I feel like that this corner would be way less smooth than this one. And if we try to bevel everything, because we are going to use beveling to make it smooth, it will just break a little bit. Like this corner would be way too smooth. So we are going to do them separately. So let's start with an easy one. We have this one, this one, this one, and this one. At this point, actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to object mode, press Q and just reset the transforms. Just get used to doing that like a few times. Just every time you do something heavy like beveling, it's good to do that. Now if you press Ctrl B to bevel, the cool thing about bevel is that you can actually use your scroll wheel to add more segments, and these segments will be nice and round. So we can actually go ahead and we can like choose our roundness. So I went for around 0.03. And then you can also choose your amount of segments. I just went for 1, 2, 3, 4. And with 4 segments, that should be fine. Because remember, this is the low poly. Now we have these pieces. We are going to make these nice and round. I don't know. It's a bit difficult to see. I think the corners are the roundest. And then these corners over here are going to be normal bevels. This does mean that we need to do some cleanup, because what you will see is when we do these corners and then start adding bevels to these pieces, they might look a little bit silly, but we can try and see how it looks if we first of all bevel everything, because it is less cleanup. So if it looks good, then I'm fine with it. So let's say we have these pieces. Basically make sure that you still have enough space on these sides, like over here we might need to move some faces around, but where you have enough space you can press Ctrl B. And so that's the thing. So if I have a look here, this is beveled too much and I don't think I want that. Yeah, see here. So the bevel is really heavy on the corners, but then it's a little bit less on the sides, which means that we need to take a little bit more of like the annoying route, I should say. But it shouldn't be too bad. So let's bevel this one and let's make this like a nice big bevel. And I think having it at 4 segments is fine. I'm going to make this width 0.075. And the reason I do the specific is because then I can have the exact same beveling on all of them. But I first want to just focus on this one to get like a little prototype. So we have this one. Now it's just a matter of Alt-Shift double clicking on here. As you can see here, a bevel breaks geometry and that's why it's a bit tricky. So this one, we want to like maybe have like only 3 segments and just make them a bit lower. Yeah, see, that looks a lot better. Great. And then we just need to do some geometry cleanup later on. So for this one, now we're just going to go ahead and do the corners for all of them. So at least for the ones that we can already select. So let's start with these. Ctrl B. And 4 segments, 0.075. There we go. So yeah, that's just the value that I remembered. These ones we can do the same. I'm just leaving the center ones because they have geometry too close to the edges for us to have a full bevel. So we just need to move those edges back a little bit. It's because we have those extra pieces. Maybe we can do some optimization. We'll have a look. So these ones, Ctrl B. 0.075. Double check your work. Ooh, close. Close, but doable. Yeah, close but doable. Yeah, actually here it was close to, so that doesn't really matter. Okay, so for these ones, the thing with this is that these edges now are too close together. So if we would try and place a bevel here, we cannot actually go far enough to create the same width. I think for this edge, so do we even need this edge? Oh yeah, we need it up here. If we need it up here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Alt and unselect these 3 edges. And let's do the same here. Alt, unselect these 3 edges. And let's press Ctrl Backspace. So Ctrl Backspace is a clean delete. While just pressing... Oh wait, I already showed you this. While just pressing delete would of course get rid of the faces. So Ctrl Backspace is a clean face delete. We need to do the same on the other side. And that way we can get rid of these edges. And what I will do is... to look... Ctrl Backspace. This edge over here, I'm going to leave it for now. Oh, well, actually, it already broke my geometry flow, which is too bad. Since it already broke, so because of course we need to add supporting loops like this. But since it already broke, we can just go ahead and we can go to vertex mode. And I'm going to show you another new tool. Now, this tool will be used a lot during optimization, but I will go ahead and show you now just because it's also for cleanup. In your Maxivis tools, it's called the Target Weld tool. Basically, all the Target Weld tool does is it goes up here and it turns on snapping and it snaps to closest when we move it. Then what it does is it goes down here into your options and it turns on auto merge, which automatically merges vertices together when they are snapped together. And it will also do it like a threshold. So if your vertices are very close and you move them, they will automatically snap together. What this allows us to do is it allows us to select this vertex and snap it to another one. And as soon as it gets snapped to that other one, it will become one vertex because it's merging them together. So same over here, you can like select it and snap it to the other one. And then you can just turn off Target Weld toggle. If you would only use the snapping, you would need to snap, then you would need to select, you would need to press Q and merge at center and stuff like that. So this is just a very quick way to just merge those pieces together. Now we have those 2 faces removed. Next one is we have this one. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to deselect these sides, press Ctrl Backspace. I think this one is enough, right? Yeah, because this one, we can just go ahead and deselect these pieces. And we can just move this back a little bit like that. Now, once again, actually, you know what? For these ones, we don't even need to connect it because we need to do that later on. Because see what a mess this geometry is. So, that one is now fixed. Now we should be able, we might need to do a reset transforms, but we'll have a look. But for now, we should be able to just select this. 0.075. And as you can see now, they do not get stopped by any geometry and it's just a nice same amount of beveling. So same over here. This one, deselect it here, deselect it over here and Ctrl Backspace. And I think that one is already, here let me zoom in. I think this one is already far enough, so I think we should be fine by already selecting this. Ctrl B. 0.075. There we go, far enough. Great. Okay, what we will do in the next chapter, we will just continue adding these bevels. And I think after that we can call the base low poly at least done. Because all those other small details we will add inside of our geometry. Then we just can create a crate, which is very easy. And then we can continue with the top. And for the top I will probably use symmetry. So let's continue with all of that.